Hey everybody, Daniel here. I didn't feel like making a skit for this one, so I hope you'll all forgive me for just using my Twitter avatar. I know I haven't uploaded as consistently as I planned, more on that in a minute. But right now I wanted to talk about Death Battle. For those who don't know, Death Battle is an internet web series that pits two fictional characters in a fight to the death, testing their weapons, armors, and combat experience against one another. It should be no surprise that I'm a big fan of Death Battle. My first few videos on this channel were dedicated to talking about their episode on Goku vs. Superman 3, which is a matchup I'm still convinced I was alone in wanting. A little while ago, I believe it was in March, Rooster Teeth, who financed Death Battle, was shut down. This left the status of the show up in the air, and a lot of us fans were convinced that the show had just reached a natural corporate end. Yes, I was aware of the hashtag Save Death Battle. It's just that I'm used to such efforts falling flat. As sad as I would have been to watch it go, I was just prepared to. Now, I discovered Death Battle when I was at a pretty low point in my life. I don't need to bog this video down with a bunch of details. Maybe someday down the road I'll open up about that stuff, but not today. The short version is not only did Death Battle help get me into things like power scaling and versus debating, it's also one of the reasons I started reading Superman comics. At a time in my life when I really needed a distraction, the hype for Man of Steel and Goku vs. Superman helped give it to me. Now, I had some experience with Superman before, but it was mostly via either Batman or Justice League comics. At the time, I was really more of a Marvel guy, and I was really more of a Dragon Ball Z guy at the time. But something about, the Man of Steel poster and just the way they did the trailer at the end of Mario vs. Sonic to advertise Goku vs. Superman just got me on the hype train. I went to my local comic book store and picked up my first Superman trade, just so I could learn a little bit more about the character, from a direct source. That trade ended up being For Tomorrow, which I have a big soft spot for. A lot of people really sort of seem to consider this run to be trash, but I have a soft spot for it. I really can't hate something where Superman fights Mount Rushmore, but I digress. It's sort of hard to think about, but that was all over 10 years ago, and I've honestly been finding myself in a similar spot today. As some of my subscribers know, my aunt died earlier this year, and if that had been my only family tragedy, I think I'd be in a better spot by now. Sadly, that just hasn't been the case. Between unexpected losses and personal health reasons, I've found it very hard to want to do much, let alone put any work into videos on this channel. Well, the other day, Death Battle launched their Kickstarter. I hadn't even realized that the creators had managed to retain the right to their IP, let alone that they were ready to seek funding. I watched as a community came together and funded the show in about 30 minutes. Not only did they get the $75K they had been seeking, they broke all of their stretch goals in about a day. At the time of recording this, they have well over $600,000. That's no small feat. This might sound silly to some, especially considering I'm a grown-ass adult, but it really did do my heart some good. Sometimes you don't realize how much the little things matter to you until the big stuff starts weighing you down. This is a show that I used to watch with my stepson. It's a show my buddies and I would discuss whenever our favorite characters would make an appearance. It's one of the things that opened the doorway for me, not just for Superman, but for power scaling and versus debating, which has been a welcome distraction over the past few years. No, I will not exaggerate and say that Death Battle single-handedly pulled me out of depression. But did it help? Yeah, it did. This silly little distraction means a lot to me, and it seems it means a lot to a lot more people. There's just something wholesome in that to me. Now, it's pretty obvious at this point that Death Battle doesn't need my help, but I'm going to give it anyway. If you're able to throw a couple bucks at them, I'm encouraging you to do so. I myself was already pretty happy to donate to their Kickstarter fund. Seeing this campaign gave me the second wind I was desperately needing. After I saw the show had been all but saved, I managed to pull myself up and finish my Just Hands Superman script and start and almost complete another Superman power scaling video that I had been wanting to do for a while. I'm excited to work on these again, and I welcome the distraction. And while I don't plan to turn this into an exclusive Death Battle fan channel, I'm more content to just sort of do my own thing. Seeing what they have coming does have me ready to do some prediction videos and maybe some reviews. It's a way to help keep me motivated and space out the content in case I start to fall behind on my own stuff again. And just look at some of these matchups. There are a bunch of fan favorites and even a few neat surprises. I guess they know how to get their funding. And a couple of my most highly requested matches have even made the cut. My big two are Bardark versus Omni-Man and Kratos versus Ashura. These two I definitely have something to say, and I've even started writing a couple little prediction videos about, so stay tuned for that as well. And if you donate, you can also vote for a rematch. Some people might be expecting me to try to get Goku versus Superman 4 up there, but that ain't it this time. I'm probably going to be the only one campaigning for Tifa versus Yang for votes. Though I think we all pretty much know that is going to be a Master Chief versus Doom guy that'll end up winning in a landslide. But as long as it's not a Ben 10 versus Green Lantern, I guess I can be happy. Look, I know this is a silly little hobby, but most hobbies are. The little distractions add up and help us get through the bad times. There will be a day when Death Battle ends, a time when interest wanes or the money just isn't there, or maybe the creators just want to retire. And that's okay. The memories will always be there, including the one where a fanbase came together to shoulder the burden and kept the show going. And for now, that's enough. If you're still with me, I'd just like to thank you for listening to this tiny little rant about a show that's come to mean more to me than I thought it did. That's been Daniel with Truth, Justice, and all of that nonsense. I'll see you soon.